Welcome, everyone, to your ongoing journey or leap into a new world of opportunity. Inside Japan Podcast is a stepping stone for your next adventure. It is a show filled with informative interviews, perspectives on local life, and how you can master your path into the unknown. For today, kick back and listen to the wisdom of our host, James.
James here, coming to you with episode number 48 of the Inside Japan Podcast, brought to you by jobsjapan.com and Patreon supporters out there. How you guys doing out there? Good episode this week with Jason from DigiNo, episode number 48. I just realized, we made the switch to Inside Japan Podcast 48 episodes ago. Obviously, it was the ALT Insider Podcast for 2 years previous, if anyone didn't know that. So if you combine 161 plus 48, we missed the 200 episode special we could have had, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to wait till we get 100 episodes of Inside Japan, then we'll do the awesome 100 episode celebration, something cool. We got to do something cool for these milestones of 100 episodes. But anyways, this week, we got someone that, hey, for the first time in a while, someone that does not work in Japan. However, they have information that is very important for people that are working in Japan or maybe want to work in Japan in the future, because he offers another avenue that you can take in terms of maybe a way to get extra money, maybe a way to fill out your resume a little bit, maybe a way to see if teaching is for you. And I think that's really cool. And, it's something that I've never covered on the show, and I think it needs to be covered because it is a huge thing that there's thousands of people doing it right now, so we got to cover it. And that is online teaching, my friend. So I'm not going to spoil anything like I always do every single time. I spoil what the episode's going to tell you. But this week, we're going to jump right in. Jason from DigiNo.org, take it away. Enjoy. All right, guys, very special guest. His name is Jason, and he's got some interesting stuff to share with you today. How you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. It's definitely the third time we started this episode, so we're trying to be natural here. But Jason, it's nice to have you in here today. So first of all, let's go through what do you want to share with us today? What's kind of your story you want to share with us today for the listeners out there today of the Inside Japan Podcast?
Well, yeah. So I did an application for the JET program a couple of years ago, and during that application, I was listening to this podcast like every day religiously.
Ooh.
And I just wanted to give like a sort of different angle to people because like the spoiler is I never actually went on the JET program.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to display to people is like the different angle you can take if you don't go on it, or something you can do afterwards after you finish the program, and just everything I learned along the way. Because even though I didn't do it, the JET program was a big step in my career.
It's an interesting way to look at things. And, I got a lot of people on here that passed on the JET program, but not so many that didn't and chose to do something else and were successful at that. So so first, let's go through your application, right? So how far did you get in the application process, I guess? I got to know.
So I got to the interview.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Now, they say if you get to the interview and you don't get it, you did something wrong. Would you agree with that statement or not?
Yeah, I would agree with it, because I had actually decided not to go on it before my interview, but I did the interview anyway because I'd come so far and I thought I'd have a change of heart halfway through.
Okay.
If I would have gone in there with the mentality of like, oh, I really want this, I think I would have got it. But I know I wasn't wholeheartedly in there.
Okay, so I guess that then goes to the decision of you got to the interview, which is something very hard. A lot of people want to do that. More people want to do that than get to do that. So why'd you make the decision though not to go on the JET program at the end there?
So I have to backtrack a little bit and go through the actual story. So I finished university and couldn't get a job for the life of me. I did everything possible there was to try and make myself employable. And I went on like countless interviews, but I was just getting so many rejections, and I just didn't know why. And then I finally discovered the JET program, and my degree was in English, and my summer job during my degree was teaching English to French students in a classroom. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And of course, I was already like a massive fan of Japan. From like anime as a kid and everything. And I actually wrote a novel for my final piece in university based off of like Japan and manga and stuff.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, this feels like it's right for me. So I was completely like hopeless because of my job search, but the JET program, it gave me something to reach for. And I set out to do the best application possible. So that's when I listened to your podcast, and it's completely opened my mind. And I even I sent you an email asking if you could look over my statement of purpose. And yeah, that's how we got like talking all that time ago. And I interviewed people like friends of friends that were currently on the JET program. And, I just put so much work into it. And it came to a point because when you send off your application, it's like around October, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you have this like long wait because you won't be going until summer the next year. And you won't hear about your interview till around end of January, around February?
Yep, it takes a long time.
Yeah, so, during this time, I remember you said on one episode of your podcast, you need to save up some money for the JET program for if you actually get there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get like a little job at like McDonald's or something in the meantime. So, I set out to get like a job that I didn't really care about. So that when it came to the time of the JET program months in advance, I could happily leave this job and I've saved up enough money.
Yeah, smart idea.
Yeah, so what I ended up doing was actually getting like a really good job.
That's the mistake.
Yeah. It was like too good of an opportunity to turn down. And, because it's such a long wait, that's what I wanted to say to people is like, because it's such a long time, your feelings and opinions of the JET program can change over that time because you have like the sort of rush of getting your application in.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's the long wait with nothing, and your mind might change.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to this point, I was in this job. I wasn't technically really enjoying it, but I knew it was a good opportunity. And also along the way, I was still looking up like YouTube videos, like vlogs of people's experience in there. And, I wasn't totally sure that I was ready for the sort of seclusion of the rural area.
Okay.
So there's all these things that, I had to consider. I was like, am I going to, give up a job that I worked so hard to get and, maybe not end up enjoying being in a rural area?
Yeah.
So it's all these things that you've got to think about, really.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Like, you are a different person. You can turn into, especially if you're right out of college, you start the JET program, you're so high hell on it, and then you do everything. It takes a long time to do everything. So some things might change, right?
Yeah.
And even, I think, though, the smart thing you did is you didn't kind of just sit there in your, in your bedroom playing video games until it was your time to go to Japan, like it would have been if you definitely got accepted, right? You did other things, you got a job, and then it just turned out that job was good. So, yeah.
Well, so at this point, I realized in my head, like after the interview, I realized in my head as like, okay, I'm not going to pursue that for now. Maybe I'll just go traveling around Japan instead. But then I felt bad because I was like, oh wow, I put so much effort into this application. There's so much effort that I could like write a book about it. So that's what I did. I was thinking, okay, well, this isn't going to go to waste. I'm going to put everything I learned from all the people I interviewed, all the resources I found, like your podcast and YouTube and everything, all into one guide. And then I published that on Amazon.
Okay.
And, I wanted to help people, but also in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, this might be a nice little, money earner as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd already published my novel on Amazon and stuff, and I was just getting into the world of like online income. So I thought, okay, well, I'll try this out. And I probably sold about 3 copies.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, okay, well, I didn't even worry about that. And so I was like, I'll unpublish it from Amazon and I'll just give it away for free.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I started making websites because in my actual job at the time, I was quite unfulfilled. I didn't enjoy working in an office, and I wanted to go self-employed.
Okay.
So this is when I started like making websites, making a blog, and I left the job because I discovered online teaching.
Okay.
And this is a crucial element that I wanted to talk about to like the Jet hopefuls and the Jet people. Have you heard of online teaching before, James?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of websites out there now that you can do teach people around the world at various rates and stuff. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of websites out there. What was your situation like?
I started doing it, and I absolutely loved it. I loved like the flexibility of online income, and just like earning this money from home. And so I left this job I wasn't very happy with. And in my mind, I was thinking, it's like, okay, with this like online teaching thing, I can experience Japan anyway, and still earn money, and I wouldn't like be forced into a situation where I was like, oh, I don't enjoy this rural area.
Yeah,
I could just move on.
So just so people know the situation, what it actually is. So stop me if it's different from you, but you do Skype lessons kind of. It's kind of like private lessons. You do it through a company, but it's still kind of like private lessons, right? And they can be from wherever over the world. Can you choose like the students you have? Like, I want students from Japan or whatever, or how did you do it?
Well, so it depends on the company. There's like Japanese companies where you have Japanese students. I started with like a Chinese company.
Okay.
And so you teach Chinese students, and they have their own like video platform. So it's like a scheduling platform, and like the lesson plan is on the screen as well as the video chat. And it depends on the company, but they give you the students, they fill up your schedule for you. And yeah, it's just a weekly thing. You have set hours each week. You can do it with kids and with adults, depending on the company.
Okay.
And so I set up my a website just blogging about it, and just writing about it. And this sort of gained like steam after a while. Because like the really interesting thing about online teaching is if you refer a new teacher, like refer a friend to be a teacher, then you get a referral fee. And I started putting my referral link into my website articles.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think anything would come of it. But then all of a sudden, the website started getting a lot of traffic, and more people started hearing about this online teaching thing.
DigiNo.org is a website where he websites talk about for reference. And what the one thing about this online teaching jobs is there's some a lot of good points. The negative though is the stereotypical negative people think about is the low pay, right? It's lower pay than a job where you're physical job. That's not the right word, but in-person job. Is that true though? Do you have to work more to kind of make up for the lower per hour rate of a normal teaching job, or what is it like for you?
So it depends on the company, but you can get let's work in dollars.
Yeah,
you can get ranging from around like $15 to $22 an hour.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's not too crazily lower than what you get in real life these days in Japan, sadly. But you get a lot of other extra benefits at your job because you have so much flexibility, and if you get enough referrals, that's another income stream basically, right? So that's how it worked out.
Well, exactly. And there's loads of different bonuses you can get within the job. But my point is with like the JET program, had I started to do this job, when I mentioned like, get a job at like McDonald's or whatever, had I chosen like to go through the online teaching route, that would have like helped me get my mind primed for teaching on the JET program. Mm-hmm. And of course, you get like a 6-month contract with some companies. So, from the point of doing your application for the JET program, like October, you could apply for this online teaching job and then do your 6-month contract until it's, you've earned the money then part-time, and you've still been practicing teaching and everything, getting in gear for JET. And so by the time that whether you're going or not, you've done your job then. You've saved your money for JET. And you've got more teaching experience.
I should say it's like a perfect bridge, right, from the kind of application time to that. Okay, that's smart. That's smart. Never heard of that idea before. That's smart. In terms of like the lessons themselves, because I know it's different for every company, I'm sure. Is it just do what they say, or do you have to? Is like here's what you do this today, and here's the lesson you're going to do, or do you have to plan stuff yourself? Is there any work outside of the hour you're working or whatever?
Oh, so there's really no preparation.
Okay, that's good.
Really, Because like, yeah, you literally just go in and you have the lesson plan there on the screen. Sometimes it's like a book that you read through with them, or if they've got like a high English ability, then you basically just talk to them, ask questions and stuff. So when my website started getting like a little bit more popular is when I started introducing my lesson plans, because I was teaching so much. I was teaching non-stop, and I was starting to get really burnt out. And in classroom teaching, I know what I would do when I was starting to get really burnt out is play games. And in the actual online teaching, the only real games they suggest to you is like, okay, you can play tic-tac-toe or something.
Okay.
And I was teaching so much, my students were getting bored of tic-tac-toe. So I was like, I have to come up with these like new games. And you're quite limited, really, because it's just video chat. Yeah. And you have like a whiteboard you can both draw on digitally. But I was like, how can I make this just more fun? Now, there's a software called Manycam. This is like a visual effects webcam software. Okay. And you could integrate this in with online teaching. And you think of it like sort of Snapchat filters and stuff.
Okay, cool.
So what I was doing, I started making all these different kinds of games using this Manycam software, which I would then write on my blog and share to people how to do it. And it would be things like, like Pokemon battles and things like that, and like Mario jump games and stuff.
Oh, cool. So it's really just a way to make your classes more interesting.
Yeah, because if the company I was with, you have regular students that you see weekly. So obviously, if I was playing the same game every time, they would just get bored. Mm. And it just became like this really easy way to just keep the classes fresh. And the big thing about online teaching and teaching in general, really, is making it fun for the student.
Yeah.
And that's what I always said to people is like, if the students are like having fun, you really don't have to put much of your energy into it. Mm-hmm. Because you'll be having fun, they'll be having fun, and it will just flow so much easier.
Yeah, that goes for any class as well too, in person and not in person. Like the more fun the students are having, the more fun you're having, the faster the time goes. Yeah. It's just how it goes. So like so,
absolutely.
Yeah. So you may have this website. The website started going well. You're still doing the online teaching thing. So I guess now that you've been doing it for a while, I assume is this something you think is an avenue for people to look for in general? Like, do you think like, okay, well, if you're interested in working in what most people listening to this show are about Japan, right? So do you think people should do this job and then maybe if they have a visa somehow live in Japan doing this, or should people do this on the side, do you think? I mean, who is this right for? Everybody? This kind of online teaching?
Yeah, I think that's because it's such a growing thing at the moment. That's the big question people are asking. It's like, can it be like a career?
Yeah.
A full-time job? And like, I'm always trying to be honest to people. At the moment, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because it's something like where you'd have to do a lot of hours to like sort of make a full-time income, and especially if you're living in like quite expensive places like London or whatever. Because when I started doing it, I was doing it in the UK, and I was living in a flat on my own. And I was working so many hours just to pay rent.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's when I started living in a hostel instead.
Okay.
And I just wanted to experiment with it, like how good it was for like traveling and stuff. So I started living in a hostel as like a cleaner, and the cleaning would pay for my bed for the night, and the online teaching would pay for my food and my lifestyle. That's what I thought. And then I started discovering that it's very difficult to do it whilst traveling. It's not something you can just do in like a coffee shop, open it up. Because, you're going to disturb other people. Sometimes it would be quite loud. You've got puppets and things like that.
Okay, yeah. So you're in like...
I'm always using my ukulele and singing and stuff. So you don't really... Some people do it. But me personally, I never suggest it because I think the best way to do it is to get your nice quiet spot and get it done. You're doing it for like 3 hours a day if you're doing it part-time. Then, the rest of the day is yours then. Mm-hmm. But I always think of it as like, if you're building up something, like you're doing a side business or whatever, it's a great thing to like get some extra income with, or a transitional thing, like what I said with the JET program. If you've just come out of university and you can't find a job, this is a great thing to do to keep your spirits up whilst you're job hunting, maybe for your graduate job, just to keep the money flowing and just to feel like you're doing something. Mm-hmm. And especially for people like coming out of the JET program as well, where they don't really know what to do. Like you've moved away from Japan or you've stayed in Japan, and you're sort of, it's a transitional thing. It's like, okay, well, I'm a teacher, so this fits me perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about the interview process and stuff like that? Is it? I mean, in your experience, I'm sure you talked to a lot of people because your website, but is it easy? Quotation marks to get a job at these places, or is it? I know it's not the JET program, but how easy is it? Do they hire anyone that's a native speaker, or is there more work you have to in the interview and stuff?
So yeah, like for other different companies, there's degrees of like different requirements and stuff. Some companies require you to just have an American accent and things like that, but other companies are a lot more open. So like if you're like a South African, but you speak native English, as long as you don't have like a heavy accent, you can get the job.
Okay.
So in the actual like process of it, you have things like demo classes. So I actually used to give the interviews for online teaching, and the way it works is, I give a sort of like mentoring session, like teach you everything, and then I actually pretend to be a kid, and you teach a class to me. And then, I just sort of like monitor what you did well, what you did and stuff. And then you move on to the actual kids.
Cool. So that means,
it's done that way.
You must have been good. Some people notice you must be good at your job to get that job, right? You'd think.
Yeah. So what it was is because I started making like articles and YouTube videos about it for the company.
Okay.
Because I said to them before, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like a writer. I got friendly with one of the higher up staff on the Facebook group, and I said, oh yeah, I'm a writer, and I make YouTube videos. So if you ever need anything, so they took me up on that, and I started making some. And because I was sharing these articles and videos in the Facebook group, they noticed that I was just like helping a lot of like the new people. So I think that's when they offered me like that role.
Oh, cool. That shows how I don't know. I'm sure how much they paid you for the extra stuff, or if they did at all. But it shows that if you really, put the extra work in, you can get up higher with the company with at least better standing at the company if you share your extra skills, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like it's the same as before with the JET program, because I was like struggling so hard to get a job. I put my all into that application because it was the only thing I had. Yeah. I had no other avenue that I was exploring. I'd been rejected from everything, and I was like, okay, this one I'm going to do. And it's the same with the online teaching. I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this. And I think success does come from like hard work.
Yeah.
And if you really apply yourself and go all in on it, then you will achieve. And that's exactly what went wrong with the JET program. Is like I got to the interview stage, and that same passion that I had for the application stage, that was gone by the interview stage. So, that's why I wanted to come in and like think about ways where you could keep that passion, or alternatives if the passion has gone for you.
Yeah, I think it's good, definitely good stuff you shared today. And I want to know about let's say you had to go through this process again, like you could start being an online teacher again. What's something you wish you knew back then or made it easier for you? Is there anything like that like, you had trouble learning, you had to learn through failure yourself, that maybe if someone wants to think about this, it'd be cool if they knew it before they started or anything?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because I actually wrote another ebook, which was 101 Things I Wish I Knew about online teaching. It's given away for free on DigiNo as an article now.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so I think the biggest thing, this is what I say to everyone, is like, just relax, like chill out, don't worry. When I first started, it was so like nerve-wracking because you're just there and like you feel like everyone's watching you. You're on camera. You've got this student in front of you. just one-on-one. And, you get really anxious and really tense because you want to do a good job. It's just such a weird scenario at first. And that anxiety made the student anxious, and they didn't feel comfortable to interact.
Okay.
And it was the moment when I started just like chilling out and having fun and like, hey, let's play a game. Started making a fool of myself with the ukulele and all the puppets and stuff. That was the moment where I was, the students started opening up. We started getting some like in jokes that we repeated weekly. So we got to the point where all I had to do was just say a word or make a face and they would laugh. And that's when I started like preaching this slogan of like, get them laughing, get them talking.
Cool.
And that's like sort of like the foundation of online teaching. For me anyway, that's what I say.
There's one for you, and I think this kind of skill goes to all kind of teaching for everyone out there. What do you, because I want to hear from you, your opinion. What do you do when a student is kind of just not talkative, right? They're not very talkative. It's in my layman knowledge, I would seem like people that do online teaching might already be more open to talking, I guess, because online teaching you have to be, but I'm sure it happens anyway. You have students that don't want to talk.
Yeah.
What's your strategy there? What kind of, can you share with us? What do you do to get them going?
Yeah. So what I always said to people is like, you've got to imagine you're a children's TV presenter. And, if something happens in the live production, you've got to keep the show moving. You can't freeze up.
Yeah.
So I would just like, if you're trying something, like you're asking them like these questions like, oh, what's your favorite animal? And they're not responding to you, try something else straight away. Like a lot of people just like really try to get them to respond on one thing. So that's why I always had like an endless supply of things like the Manycam games or my ukulele or whatever, just to constantly keep trying, and eventually something might happen. But that's all you can do. You're not in control of like how they feel that day or how they're going to react to something. So as long as you just keep calm and keep trying, something might make them crack a smile. And as soon as you make them crack a smile, you're like, aha, I can make you laugh now. There's potential.
Okay, so I guess because for you with ukulele, it's just that game you do, the game thing you do. So you kind of recommend people have some kind of accoutrement with them, accessories to kind of get the conversation going if they don't, can't get it freely talking easily. Yeah,
I mean, if you don't have anything around you, you're going to make your life 10 times harder.
Interesting.
Because if you come into class and all you've got prepared is like, right, I'm going to ask them some questions, and then they don't respond to those questions, or they don't have a high English ability, then you're going to be like, it's anything that you have. Like, I was having a banana after my classes, so I picked up the banana and started using it as a phone. And it's just one big game of word association, really. Banana leads to monkey. You do a monkey impression, or you got a monkey puppet, leads to like some kind of animal-themed game. Yeah, it's just being kind to yourself and knowing that you've got these things in store.
That's cool.
And yeah, you'll be sorted.
And that's cool. I see, like, even on your website here, you have like, even you have like every single thing you might need for online teaching. It seems like you have every single thing you might think about you have to need to have to be an online teacher. It's really cool. So yeah, definitely go there if you're interested in this kind of stuff. So how about a lot of people that work here listening to the show are working in Japan already. Is it possible for them to, let's say, work the JET program for daytime? Then, of course, they wouldn't tell the JET program they're doing this, but it's okay. They would do this as a part-time thing. Is it possible, like on the weekends, I want to do, let's say, 5 classes or whatever, just to get a few extra bucks? Is that possible in most places like this?
Yeah. Well, obviously, like JET program doesn't want you, working.
You gotta keep it secret, of course, in the down low, but
Yeah. So I officially do not recommend it.
Yeah,
but yeah, of course, you can do it. You can do this job on the weekend.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because of like time difference as well and stuff. Classes run, obviously it's like Beijing time. So Beijing time's like, what is it? 6 till 9.
Okay.
Is the peak time for classes.
I guess to kind of, because you obviously found your way. Just a quick recap here for those that fast forwarded to the middle or so. You want to try the JET program. you had a great application, worked your ass off there to have a good application. You did have a good application. It sounded like you had a good background. I never saw your application, obviously, but until I saw your SOP. But you had great, things about you already to put in your resume for the eject program. So you probably were. I could have guessed you were probably going to get an interview, and you did. But in the meantime, before you got the results, you said, "Hey, I got to get some money, right? Got to save money for the jet program. Jet program's expensive, guys. We didn't know that." So then you found this job, the other job, and it was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Not so much into the jet program anymore." You still did the interview, didn't go well. Your heart wasn't in it. But then you stumbled upon online teaching, right? Online teaching, kind of, you found new life there, right? You put all your energy into that.
Yeah.
And then you made a website as well, and other websites, but mainly this DigiNo.org, DigiNo.org. And that's what you're doing now. So from now, though, from this starting line of April 10th, 11th, 2019, what did things look like for Jason, though? What are you going to do? You're just going to keep pushing this stuff and keep online teaching as much as you can, or what's going to happen from here?
So, online teaching now, as the website's grown, I've done it less and less. I do it about 4 hours a week now.
Okay.
And because running DigiNo takes up a lot of my time. Because I sort of partnered with each of these companies. So, I'm always working hard to find which is like the best companies for people to work at. And, finding methods for people to do it and just growing the site. And I've also made DigiNo sort of a platform for other teachers where they can write about their company and methods that they use. And then in exchange, they can put their referral link in the articles. So if new people want to apply for the job, they might earn by writing these articles. So I've just sort of turned it into a hub for online teaching. I call it the home of online teaching now. And yeah, I've always just loved online income and the elements of passive income. So because it allows me to earn money whilst I explore other things I want to do. I really want to travel around Japan, so I want to make that happen. I love music and everything. So that's what I thought about online income and online teaching. Is it doesn't take up too much of your day and it allows you to pursue something else on the side as well.
Cool. And that's cool. You get to make it happen. I guess people out there are saying, okay, passive income, yeah, that's cool. Making a website that's passive income, that's cool. But that takes time, right? So how long did it take you to make this website the real, thing? How long was that from the process, do you think?
It probably took me about a year.
Okay, well, that's fast. That's really fast. Yeah.
No, but I was doing online income with my Amazon books and stuff for a couple of years before.
Okay.
And I failed a lot. I failed so much. I wasted a lot of money, but it wasn't a waste because it was the University of Life.
Yeah.
And I was paying for my degree that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it took me about a year. This whole online teaching thing, it was a great idea, this referral thing of if I make a blog and I put my referral link in there, thousands of people click on it and get the job, I get money. But I didn't make anything for a year.
Yeah.
So I realistically, I should have just stopped writing articles. But I got to a point where I was in flat. I had nothing else going on. I was I put my everything into this. I'm not going to stop now. And I was getting messages from people saying, "Oh, thank you so much. You've made my classes so much easier." Or "Thank you for helping me find this job." And so I was I'm just going to help people. It's not about the money. I'm going to keep on helping people.
That's cool.
And then eventually the money came, and I still just try and keep on helping people. And now what I do is a percentage of the money the website makes, I donate to charities for building schools in Africa.
Oh, cool.
So so keep it all in the education, get people teaching jobs, get students teachers, and get schools for students.
Cool. I guess that goes to show the power of finding a niche online that obviously wasn't being filled, at least effectively. That's the hard part, right? The hard part of making money online is finding the thing that isn't being done right now, or doing something that's already done much better, which is even harder. So that's the two ways to make online money is there for sure. But last two more questions here before we finish up here. I want to know, in Japan, as you might have heard, the teaching situations, the teaching jobs are getting the teaching conditions in terms of compensation have been going down over the last few years. It's getting worse and worse as the years go, right? So how about online teaching? I'm guessing there's no chance of raises. Online jobs like that normally don't have that. You might tell me I'm wrong though. But what about the overall pay? Like over the years you've been doing it? I'm not sure how long you've been doing it so far, but is there any trends that way? Things going down in terms of pay or staying the same? What's it like?
It's quite ever changing. At the end of each, you get like a sort of 6-month or year contract, and at the end of each contract, you can negotiate a pay rise. And this is normally about like $1 or £1 on top of your hourly rate.
Okay.
If you good at negotiating, you could probably get more. But that's the thing. That's why DigiNo is so important, because it's ever changing. And they're constantly introducing new pay structures and things. Like one of the latest ones is like you get 30% of your hourly rate if you do this, and all these like bonus schemes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as it goes along, there's loads of different ways. There's also you don't just have to work for one company. You can supplement your income with teaching adults over the phone. It doesn't just have to be on your laptop.
Okay.
You can literally at any time make yourself available. It's on something called Palfish. You can make yourself available, and then someone will book you, and you just talk to like a Chinese adult or someone across the world, and just talk to them in English to practice their English, and you earn by the minute and stuff. So yeah, there's ways for you, but I think because it's a growing industry and you're officially a freelancer, you're not an employee of the company, you're always a contractor. So it takes a bit of like hustle yourself and like finding ways to make it a more substantial income.
Okay.
But rather than it be an alternative for actual like school teachers, like proper curriculum teachers, it might be an alternative for people teaching abroad. Teaching English in schools abroad.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say to like a sort of university English lecturer or college lecturer like, hey, quit this and do this, because it might not pay off your mortgage.
yeah. There you go, guys. Good stuff here from Jason from DigiNo.org. Is there anywhere else people can find you besides the awesome DigiNo.org, or is that where you want to send people today to go check out the stuff you do?
I don't really want to confuse people. If you go to DigiNo.org, you'll find the YouTube channel on there and everything, and the Facebook group. So yeah, send them to one place and they won't get lost.
Smart man that knows the online world for sure when you have that answer. But Jason, you were awesome today. I think it's cool. I think it's two things to take from this for me is, yeah, if you want, especially for the jet people out there or anyone wanting to work in Japan, if you have some time to wait until your departure or your results or whatever, do this, because it'll get you in the kind of thinking experience, give you a little thinking experience that's huge, so you don't go to Japan and just be wide-eyed like, what the hell am I doing here in my first class, You have some kind of experience that's really huge. And if you want some extra money sometime, hey, do that too. If you want to put a little more work into it, you can make it more of an income and go travel and whatever you want to do. That's cool. Another thing I think it's worth noting is making a website online is something that everyone can do themselves. It's not easy, but I'm sure 100 people try to make money online and 1 or 2 of them can do it. So Jason here found a good niche, but that doesn't mean you can either, right? There's other ones out there. Maybe it's not going to be teaching online, probably, but there's other things out there to find. So that's what I want to take from these two, is the two kind of bits of knowledge you share, Jason. But any final thoughts from you to close this thing out?
Well, no, I really appreciate what you've done, dude, because your podcast really helped me out so much. So I'm so grateful for that.
Awesome.
And I'm grateful for the JET program itself, for giving people something to hope for. If they can't find a job.
For sure. There you go, Jason. Keep it rock and rolling. I would do what you do at DigiNo.org, and maybe we'll talk to you down the road for your next venture, whatever that happens to be, for sure.
Yeah, dude, I'll be back. No worries. Cool.
I really hope you enjoyed today's Inside Japan podcast. Dive deeper into our world and learn more about what awaits you. Check out altinsider.com. And for regular, up-to-the-minute job postings, check into jobsinjapan.com for the next big gig. Please tune in for our regular excursions into the world of Japan, and good luck! Ganbatte!
JobsInJapan.com